This amazing Norwegian band called Kalandra asked us to make a video for one of their new songs called Mitt hjerte alltid vanker. And we thought, let's go for something mystical, something that fits Kalandra and their Nordic folk style music. Morten and I agreed, let's bring a drone to the forest, let's put a light on the drone and light down in the forest to create moving shadows, moving light.
I basically strapped that to the underside of the drone.
Actually used some fake haze in Resolve.
For the graphics, there was a lot of 3D tracking, which I did in Fusion.
It's just so fun, like this is why we make videos and movies. Before we go into details on how we made this video, let's look at the final result first.
Mitt hjerte alltid vanker I den mørke vinternatt. Der vandrer mine tanker. Her jeg etterlatt. Hva kan min lengsel
It's just so fun. Like, this is why we make videos and movies. Is the collaboration between creative people and see how we together can tell stories. So how did we make this? Well, we were not supposed to make a behind the scenes, so we don't have a lot of behind the scenes footage. But luckily, some of us use their phones to shoot some video for Instagram. So we're gonna explain how we did the shoot and using those shots. You can separate the production into two pieces. You have the technical part, how you do it with using the drone and lights, and you have the storytelling part. I was a director and cinematographer in this shoot, and as a director, I had to really think about how can we tell a little story here. Of course, in the lyric video, you have the lyrics, that's kind of the focus in a video. But we also want to have something happening, like a little build-up. The light itself became a character, and we had Katrine, who's the singer in Kalandra, also as a character. The story is kind of that they look for each other, but they're a little bit nervous about meeting. So she's a little bit careful in the beginning, but when she understands that the light is friendly and accepts her, they connect more, and you see that both the light and her changes throughout the video. So I asked Morten, is it possible to maybe put a light on a drone and fly over the forest to create this amazing and weird light coming through the trees?
We don't use our Inspire 3 as much as we maybe should because it's a little bit big and cumbersome. I thought this was a great idea to actually use the extra size of our drone to do something cool. So I did some testing here in the studio. This light from Zhiyun, the Zhiyun X100 Molus, is actually a perfect light for this because it's quite skinny and light and it's battery powered. I basically strapped that to the underside of the drone. The X100 has these holes on the side that you can put, I don't know, like a neck strap or something on it.
Neck strap?
It's probably not.
Like a camera.
Yeah, these were perfect. I just put some good old ropes in here, some small ropes. Then I could put that onto the Inspire drone. This light is 100 watts, so it's actually quite bright. We put a little reflector on it as well. This will give us the output we needed to light up the forest. Whenever you're shooting with a drone, you need to be careful, obviously, especially with the political circumstances we have in Europe now, where everyone is very wary of drones. You need to be very careful. And then I had to go and register our flight with the government. And also, we notified the police, just in case someone will call in and see that they were seeing drones above the forest. So it's really important to notify the right people. So when flying the drone, it's a little bit difficult because I couldn't always go as far as he wanted because of the power lines and the trees. And now with the light attached to it, it got even heavier. So I guess we only had 10-15 minutes of a flight time before I had to land, so we had to be quite efficient. And in addition, it was actually quite cold. It was almost freezing, so that also drains the battery a lot quicker. And after a while, we figured out what kind of movements worked the best to create the best kind of shapes of light on the forest floor. It really added that edge to everything. The movements of the shapes were so cool, so I really liked it.
Since the drone couldn't fly forever, of course, we figured out a way where you could combine the drone and other lamps. So we had Kim standing on one lamp, moving it back and forth, and we had our apprentice, Fortland, to move the second lamp. The last lamp was the X100 with a soft ball, and we mounted it on a boom pole and trying to move it above Katrine's head and around her to create also moving light from this one.
One of the big challenges of the project was the timeline, because after the shoot we had only 2 days to finish up all the editing, all the visuals, the graphics. So June Maria and Matthias did a great job with that.
So for the edit, Anders had a rough outline of most of the shots and where they would be. So in the very beginning we introduced this moving light as a character in the video, and also make sure to introduce Katrine and her kind of relationship with the light. We kind of see that she freezes when the light is shining upon her. And then we end the first lyric section with a shot of her walking towards the light, and then the music really takes off. And I knew that before the takeoff I wanted to have some shots that shows the beginning of a transformation. I had a couple of suggestions kind of, but I ended with this shot of Katrine where she's turning her head and she's no longer so frozen or timid. She's becoming a bit more like curious about the light. Then we have maybe the most difficult part of the edit, which is this really long stretch of just instrumentals. Here it was a lot more of like piecing together the footage. So the goal of this section is to really see the change that is happening. So we start off pretty early by seeing some really close-ups. I feel like this kind of made sense here because she's starting to explore the light a little bit more. And even though it's not explicit, it kind of feels like maybe it's from her point of view. And she's becoming more curious and trying to kind of figure out what the light is. And then this section ends with her looking up directly at the light before we move into the last part of the lyrics section. And here we kind of see her fully embracing the light, and we end it by seeing her dancing in the light. And also I used some fake haze in the post-production for some of the shots. So there was tons of real haze on set when we were filming, but of course the wind will kind of blow a lot of it away. So some of the shots that I wanted to use, they didn't have any haze at all. It was disrupting the feeling and it didn't have the same like mystical feeling that the rest of the shots had. So I actually used the AI haze in Resolve to add it in post. And I feel like that really added a lot, and it was kind of the final touch that was needed for a lot of the shots. But just be aware that sometimes, and for certain shots, it won't work as well and it will glitch a lot. So test it out and just be aware that it won't work for every single type of shots. So that is the thought process behind the edit and a short breakdown from start to finish.
For this project, we had a very short deadline. It was important to prioritize all the lyrics and the graphics scenes and shots. So that's why Uni started editing those first, so I could start working on the graphics and the lyrics as soon as possible. For the graphics, there was a lot of 3D tracking, which I did in Fusion. I tracked the shot in 3D, and then I had a text, like a flat 2D plane of text, with an animation with like going added a little bit of blur and glow to it. And then I would just place that onto a 3D plane in the scene, so it would be tracked properly. Some of the shots were actually almost impossible to 3D track, and especially within the time frame that we had. So that's why we resorted to doing 2D tracking for some of the shots, and some of the shots doesn't have tracking at all. It's just like a very slow zoom in on the text down in the corner. But I think it kind of still works within the style of the video. But obviously the 3D tracking shots were the coolest. For one of the shots, I wanted the text to kind of float quite close to the camera, but I ended up having to put it further behind because the track was quite inaccurate, and it's a lot easier for it to track objects that are further away, because when I put the text quite close, you would kind of see the parallax of the camera, but then it had to be behind the trees, so I had to mask out the trees, but that was relatively simple and quick.
We hope you guys like this little improvised behind the scenes, and definitely check out Kalandra and their music and their new EP Mørketid. There's a link in the description to that, and also the lyric video, the final result. Again, it's so fun to collaborate with other creative people. So some weeks ago we collaborated with Nerdforge on a video for their channel, so check that out as well, the behind the scenes. There's a link to that, or you can press somewhere here. And subscribe, because we're coming out with more videos, more filmmaking videos from Norway. I see you guys soon. Ha det bra.